Corey, it is great to talk to you, man, because usually when we're talking, it's not like this where you're in some backdrop, we're in a movie theater, something big is happening here. You are dressed to the nine, you are ready for the red carpet, you are ready for the VIP, you are ready for Canadian Hollywood. Where are we, and what is going on, my friend?
So we're at Carlton Cinema, Imagine Cinemas, and we're here for the very first screening of the new series Injustices, which is a really twisted horror series starring myself as Jude, written by Calyx, who's a great writer and director.
Well, hold on. First off, my friend, I mean, you and I have talked a lot. We've never talked about your acting career and your aspirations. How did this all begin for you?
Honestly, since the age of 5, I love doing theater work. So I've done roles at the Living Arts Center and various theater plays throughout Ontario. And then my dad and mom actually threw me into an agency where the first actual big role that I got was actually on Degrassi, where I played a supporting role. It was one episode, but it kickstarted my career. And then I did other reality shows like Party Mamas, Splat a lot, played a demon on a horror show called Paranormal Witness. I love horror things. Yep. I love horror things. I've done just, a lot of it, and I love acting. It's a huge passion of mine.
So how did this role come about for you? How did this all connect?
So essentially, I sat down with Calyx. Calyx and I kind of connected over social media, and between the two of us, we actually together, more so Calyx because he was obviously the writer and he has a brilliant mind, but I gave my input too, and between the two of us, we created the Injustices.
What is the Injustices? I've got to make sure I said it correctly too. That's a word that can be tricky, but it sounds like it's a whole lot of horror fun.
Yeah, so essentially it's like a psychological horror / thriller. I would say more on the psychological aspect of it, because Jude is a character that is as a social outcast. He's gets bullied. I don't want to spoil too much, but he's got a very unfortunate lifestyle, and that's what kind of creates Jude to what he is and what he ends up becoming. So, and actually the two episodes that you'll be seeing tonight at tonight's screening are just the start of it. We're only just at the very baseline of telling Jude's story.
What mentally do you have to do to create this character? Because, all great actors usually take something of themselves into this. What do you think you have taken from, say, anything from your past to make this character more real and more relatable to fans?
So, I've been through, a lot of mental health related stuff myself. I've battled depression and anxiety and stuff like that. So I've taken... To get into the mood of this character, I took actual real moments that I had faced. At the time of filming this series, I was going through a breakup. I lost my cardiac alert service dog, so I was going through really very real depression moments. So I just kind of used, those moments to put myself in a sad state and in an angry state at times, and I really drove myself into this character. At sometimes I was actually shocked myself, and I was like, whoa, what's going on here? I was very I was like, whoa.
I'm assuming you've already seen episode 1 and episode 2. What is it like watching yourself being somebody else?
With this character specifically, it's almost a little scary because, when you look at Jude, he's over the edge, no doubt. He's completely gone off the rails, and it's a very serious mental health crisis that he's facing, but it's just the way he turns into a serial killer, essentially. And, just looking at myself on screen playing that role, it's almost hard to believe, because, when I'm sitting there,
yeah, because you're such a nice guy.
Yeah, I'm usually, pretty friendly. I'm a mental health advocate. I like talking to people, friendly. I like, being as happy as I can be. And seeing this character on screen is, the complete opposite of what I am.
You realize when this does come out, and you're walking down the street, or you're on the streetcar or bus or wherever, and people recognize you, they're going to be like, yeah, I got to sit over here. It's going to happen, man.
I've already kind of got that, in a jokingly way. The girlfriend I have now, she's like, when I look at your face, I see Jude. And I'm like, oh no, that's not a very good thing. So, the character, Calyx did an awesome job at writing it. He took this character in an unbelievable way, and there's so much more to come. Like, we're only at the very baseline of telling the character story.
Well, we're going to get a chance to talk to him in a moment, but I want to say, my friend, congratulations on all this. Social media, where do we go to follow you so we know more about what happens with your character, you, and everything else in the Injustices, and also anything else you're doing in the future?
Yeah, so both my Twitter and my Instagram is at Corey Dixon 33, CoreydixOn 33, and my Facebook, just search Corey Dixon on Facebook, and I'm there.
Congratulations, my friend.
Thanks so much. Thanks so much for having me here.
Thank you so much for doing this interview with me. The buzz is happening behind me. The backdrop is behind you. We're somewhere in Toronto where there is a lot of, I like to call Canadian Hollywood happening here. Where are we and what's going on right now, my friend?
Okay, so we're at the Carlton Cinema, which is, right in the heart of downtown Toronto. Apparently, I learned recently it's like a staple of like Toronto, like art house cinema and stuff, which is awesome. We're here to premiere my series, The Injustices, that I co-wrote and directed. I should say our series with Corey Dixon and me and Aaron Alter, Richard Walters, Brian Dixon. All of us are kind of the key players behind a series that we're trying to premiere basically and get out there. So yeah.
Congratulations on this. Look, I spoke with Corey earlier and he kind of explained some of it for me. I want you to fill in maybe some of the blanks there too. What is this series about? Because this sounds like this is like a psychological thriller, horror. Sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of elements going on because we want to we have, drama, we have some serious drama, we deal with some serious topics, mostly about loss and about, grieving, the grieving process, that sort of thing. But also, there's definitely room for some comedy as well, and some levity with that and with the characters as well. I find in my writing, I always sort of have a little element of comedy in there because I find that makes it so human, you know what I mean? That adds a humanity to the characters and stuff. But yeah, I sort of really try to go both directions with that, but then there's also kind of horror over top of everything too. It's kind of a horror trappings throughout it, you know what I mean? Yeah.
How did you come up with this idea? Where did this come from? Is this from stuff that actually has happened and okay, we got the head shake, so where did this all come?
Yeah, interesting story, I guess, because, first of all, I should say Corey approached me with this initial sort of pitch, this initial idea of kind of a social outcast and dealing with a character like that, you know what I mean? And from there, I sort of, who becomes a serial killer, and that as the basic idea for a horror series. After that, I sort of took it another direction. I took it that direction, but I also actually recently lost someone very close to me. And so definitely, it was funny because it was right around the time when Corey reached out to me that this happened. So I was like, immediately, the two things came together, you know what I mean, in the story and stuff. And yeah. I guess, yeah, it sort of, it informed it, and in the dialogue and in things like that, there are real conversations I had with people, you know what I mean, and real things that actually happen there. So, yeah, there's definitely a lot of kind of truth in it and reality, you know what I mean, to not only how kind of you as an individual react to grief and loss, but also how other people do, you know what I mean, to you grieving, right? So it's kind of about all those things, I guess, and I think in a lot of ways too, we have this idea of a serial killer, but it's a metaphor, you know what I mean, in some ways too, right? There's metaphorical elements to kind of the horror parts of it, right?
Now, some people would immediately start thinking of Dexter. What would you say is the difference, though, so people don't think we're getting another Dexter?
Well, this is funny because I actually haven't seen Dexter, so maybe that's
okay. That helps.
Yeah, it does. I would say that I sort of came to this from how do I tell this story? You know what I mean? What's my way of telling this story? And I think that that's kind of what's unique about it is that it's a sort of very personal and very subjective view on kind of my experiences with loss and also. Also, just how each person tells that story. I mean, I think one thing for sure is that this character Judas, he's a young guy. You know what I mean? He's very young, and it's like early 20s, and he's just kind of figuring out how to be a not high school student. You know what I mean? And that kind of journey in life and where you're at, and it's kind of in a way almost where I was at when I first was writing the script. So it was kind of something too where I definitely drew from that as well. You know what I mean? And so I think it is definitely a different take, a different perspective than.
Where's it being filmed? Is it considered? Are the characters considered Canadian, or are we just sort of generic?
Yeah, we basically kind of filmed it. You know, we wanted the whole thing to be set kind of out in the boonies is what what Aaron Alter, one of the producers on it, was his idea, and we kind of wanted we wanted it to be a very kind of rural place, you know what I mean? Like a place way away from the city where, the characters are, you'd imagine maybe something like this could happen because there's, people kind of out in the woods and that's all they got, you know what I mean?
Well, I've known Corey for a long time.
Yeah.
It's going to surprise the heck out of me to see him as a serial killer. Why was Corey, even though he did come up with the idea, it's almost like Sylvester Stallone coming up with Rocky and he's saying, well, I need to play that part as Rocky. It's kind of like the same thing with him. Why do you think he was right for this part?
Oh, man. It's interesting. I mean, I think it's that he wanted the challenge as an actor. You know what I mean? I think that's really what it was. I know Corey loves horror, first of all, and I know that was something a big inspiration for him, and something that he always kind of wanted to direct his energies towards. So yeah, I mean, I think the idea of kind of playing a serial killer. I mean, another huge inspiration for me as the writer was Taxi Driver by Martin Scorsese, because to me it's like that. Travis Bickle is kind of the archetypal, social outcast who goes crazy and it is kind of shown in violent behavior. You know what I mean? And so we definitely wanted to. I definitely drew inspiration from that. I mean, to me, that's one of the best performances, in cinema. You know what I mean? So I was like, okay, let's make Corey. Let's aim for that. Let's aim for that level. You know what I mean? Because that's, I think, what he wanted. He wanted a great kind of showcase of his talent as an actor. So
absolutely. Yeah. I know we're going to have to wrap this up because we got some premieres to do here.
That's right.
Any idea when we're going to get a chance to see this? And also, what? If you could say anything to the fans out there, what do you want them to really know about the Injustices?
Okay. Well, when we're going to see it is probably, I would say, most likely going to be, the thing is right now we're looking for distribution, right? We're looking for development and distribution to get it out there. So, it's really, that's kind of up to the powers that be in the industry, and we obviously want to get it out there as soon as possible. We might consider, I think at this point we're like, we could put it online, we could put it, we could put it anywhere, but we want to try and get it on a real network, you know what I mean, and see as far as we can go with that. And then as for, sorry, what was the second question?
Second question is, and I just forgot, the second question is too, I mentioned about when we're going to get a chance to see this. Oh, what do you want to say to fans out there who, they're curious, what is this? What do you want to say to them?
Yeah. I would say, if you want a real story, you know what I mean, with grit and with humor and just that's human, you know what I mean. That's a human story with real people and fun and stuff, and we also have a lot more of a story to tell with that, But that's kind of where I'm coming to with it, you know what I mean, is authenticity, I guess, you know what I mean, in the stories I tell, So yeah.
Website we can go to, or even social media?
Yeah, it's passajoke@gmail.com is where you can go for anything with me. That's Twitter or Instagram or Facebook. Just PASSAJOKE. Yeah.
Congratulations. Looking forward to seeing you.
Thank you very much.